Okay, so this video is all about what to do when you're at a gym that has terrible exercises or terrible equipment that does not allow you to do a great leg day. Because I've been there before, where you go to a gym, you're all excited, you're with a buddy, and you're gonna do an awesome leg workout, but then you go and you check out the equipment and there's like dog shit, hot diarrhea in a plastic bag on a summer day, right? So I'm gonna go over basically a great exercise movements for you to do. Some of them are gonna be at an advanced level. I'm gonna also show you basically an entire workout from point A to point B of what I've done, or what I did, and that's kind of what sparked this video, because I put a poll out on my Instagram story and some people were interested, so I made this video. Basically, I'm going to go over the videos that I took, do some demonstrations, show you some other exercises, give you some rep schematics, etc. If you like this style of format, please do me a favor and drop a comment below and tell me that you like it so I can make more of these, basically a breakdown step by step that you can implement into your own workout routines. Without further ado, let's get into it. I always start my leg workouts with ankle mobility and also basically calf, because let's be real, everybody neglects it if you put it at the end of the workout. All right. Now I'm not including any of my mobility or warm up stuff. This is strictly what I've done after I warm up. I do my hip flexors, all that jazz, spine mobility. This is really informing. Make sure you warm up before you exercise. All right. So first thing I would recommend for anyone, obviously most gyms are going to have a calf raise machine. You could use that. I wouldn't recommend to do the seated one. I would recommend to do the standing one. If they don't have a standing one, then I would recommend this option. This is me doing a video demonstration. I'm just going to skip to the meat and potatoes. You're going to grab a plate. You're going to find something to hold, and you're going to basically do the same thing that you could do with your ankle. You're going to do with your calf, up and down. And then when this, or if this gets easy, then you're going to progress to adding load. You could do that by holding a plate. You could do that by holding a dumbbell, etc. Now, this isn't going to be super strenuous. This isn't going to be super hard. Okay. So I'm going to do a tri set. I'm going to do a superset with 3 different things. Technically, it's a giant set. We're going to go from that into either TKE or tibialis anterior body rate. So I have my own device that allows me to do this loaded. Most gyms, literally no gyms has this unless you have a home gym. So what you're going to do, you're going to find a place, you're going to find a wall, and you're going to do this. Now, the reason why you want to do this is because you have the front of your calf, or you have the back of your calf, which is your gastrocnemius, you have your soleus. That's great. Everybody has thick calves, but nobody fucking trains their tibs. This is your tibialis anterior muscle, which connects to your knee. This prevents shin splits. This prevents knee pain. This is a whole slew of benefits, plus your ankle mobility. This got really super popular by knees over toes guys. I've been doing it before him. It's very simple. You just basically do it with your ankles, you do it with your feet. Okay. And then the third part of this would be TKE. You're gonna need a band. Every gym has a band. Okay. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna go into here and you're gonna bring your knee forward and you're gonna bend it. This is the only time I'm going to tell you to lock out your knee. It's really straightforward. This is the only time I'll tell you to lock out your knee. This is also a great warm-up for knees, especially if you're going to squat heavy, you're going to do hack squat heavy, whatever. I find this gets rid and mitigates most knee pain. All right, so that's the first part. Next is really straightforward. This is going to be a lying hamstring curl. Now, every gym, good or bad, should have it. Now, it depends on the machine. Most gyms are going to have something like this, a Life Fitness machine. Now, the resistance profile on this is pretty shit. I would highly recommend you do the single leg. I feel a lot more in my hamstring. Now, if you have the option to choose between lying and seated, most people will benefit from seated more. It puts your hamstring in a lengthened position much more than lying. I just feel it more. Lying, I typically do both lying and seated on leg day that I'm incorporating 2 hamstring movements on, if it's not posterior dominant. So very simple, slow and controlled. This is another example from a different machine. This is going super heavy, 2 legs. Do you need a rock that much? No. If you want to progressive overload and go super heavy, this is pretty much the only way to do it. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily, but the most important thing is I'm controlling the weight down. I'm controlling the eccentric and the weight down. Okay. So now that that's done, let me go over the rep ranges of this really quick. For the calves, whether you're doing a bilateral or single leg, the TKE and the tibs, 2 or 3 sets. Depends how much time and how quickly it takes you and how little or how much rest you need. For the calves, your calves need volume. 15 to 20 reps is good. Minimum 12. TKE, same thing. 10 to 20 reps, depends how much you can take. And then the tibs, same thing. So you can do 2 to 3 sets at 15 to 20 reps. Rest, I typically do nothing. Okay, I just continue to go. Okay, so now, where do my most go? So now, personally for me, my main compound movement when I'm doing a leg day is going to be a hack squat. Now, at this LA Fitness in particular, their hack squat options were dog shit. And when I say dog shit, they weren't the proper ones when you can go full depths. They were like half ones, and you need to have impeccable ankle mobility in order to use them properly. Most people, you watching this, do not have that. I train my ankle mobility a lot, and I still don't have it to get a full range of motion and a good proper stretch. So here are some great substitutes and some great advanced movements that you can use for your leg workouts at a gym that has shitty equipment. So the first thing would be an elevated split squat, or known as Bulgarian split squats. Now, this is important to note that most people watching this, you're going to have difficulty balancing and stabilizing using 2 weights. So what I would recommend would be something like this. Hold on. So this is me at my home gym demoing it, right? So I normally load one side and then use a stick to balance. Okay, so you could see for reference here, or this is at a commercial gym, this is 100 pounds on one side, I'm using a stick to balance, I have my foot on the bench. This is the most ideal scenario. However, some gyms do not have a stick, so you kind of got to do what you gotta do. Okay, but this is the most optimal way that I would recommend most people to do, and then progress to this. Okay, but let's say they don't have a stick, here's the option. Okay, and then in an ideal circumstance, you would put something to elevate your heel, but they don't have a wedge because LA Fitness doesn't have any good equipment. Right, but if you want to like do a 10 out of 10 on biomechanics, elevate with a wedge, because most people have shitty ankle mobility. With this, you want to focus on stabilization. You don't need that heavy of a weight. Okay, you really don't, especially if you're not going to heavy or offset load to one side. So this would be it. Now, in terms of reps and schematics for this, if you go back to here, so BSS, you're going to warm up to a top set. You wouldn't go straight into heavy weight. You need to warm up. You need to build up to that and figure out what's a hard set for you. I would do 2 times hard sets. Now for reps range, it depends how heavy you're going. I would do 8 to 12 and then rest per leg. Okay, per leg. You're gonna rest per leg. At least 120 seconds if you're doing this properly. That's a good indicator. If you're like tired as fuck after you do the one leg and you need to rest, that's good. That means you're pushing yourself, okay? Then from here, typically, I would go from a hack squat to like some type of leg press. But again, most leg press options they had here were doo-doo shit, or the one that they did have was really, really busy. So here's another great alternative. Now, there's nothing fancy to this. This is basically a dumbbell goblet squat. The only things that I'm going to show you would be how to start it, which I put it on a bench and I grabbed it off the bench. That's basically the most important thing, because then you're not wasting so much time and energy like deadlifting off the floor and then holding it. And as you can see, I'm elevating my heel with 2 plates because it allows me to get my knee over my toe more. Okay. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So I pause at the bottom because I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult. Here, I'm just fucking around, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, you can see the knees are over the toe. I'm pausing at the bottom. I'm holding on the way down. I'm holding my breath on the way down, and I'm breathing out on the way up. Okay, I'm really engaging my core. Right, so these are the most important takeaways from this. Now, in terms of rep ranges, dumbbell goblet squat, I would do 1 hard set at 8 reps, and at this point, you don't need to warm up. But you probably don't know what weights you're doing, so you need to figure it out, and then for the future sets you don't need to. And then I would do 1 back off set at about 12, or if you want to hate your life, 15 reps. Rest at least 120, ideally up to 180 seconds per leg. Boom. Okay, so now we have the calves done. We have your quads are pretty much toasted at this point, minus accessories. And then we need something to heavy or hit your glutes and your hamstrings hard. So my preferred movement, especially at a gym, would be a glute bridge machine. However, again, this gym didn't have that. So here would be my recommendation for most people that aren't over 6'1". You go into the first rep, it then evens out. Okay, so what's really important when you're doing any type of RDL is you make basically a 7, or you make the Pac-Man, all right? Because now my primary is my glute right here. And then I'm also using my hamstring because it's a hinge movement, right? So do you need to elevate this? No. Do I prefer to elevate this? Yes, especially if you're going to use 45-pound plates. So you don't need to elevate this if you're going to use 25-pound plates. And the reason for that is because the 25-pound plates are shorter in dimension. But if you're using the 45-pound plate, it elevates the barbell higher off the floor. So to mitigate that, I literally elevated myself, so I get a deeper stretch, right? But you don't need to do this. Like my friend who's filming this, he's like 6'4", so he didn't do it elevated. You don't need to do it elevated if you're really tall, but like majority of the population is not that tall. Other than that, this is really straightforward. I'm controlling it. I am breathing in on the way up and down. Sorry, I'm breathing in on the hardest part. So I'm breathing in here, and then I'm breathing out on the way up, right? The back brace is optional. But I use it as precautionary when I'm going slightly heavy on hinge movements or on a hack squat, just because I tend to have some back pain, even if your form's like really, really strict. And then that's it. So now in terms of rep ranges, what to do with this? Great question. RDL, I would again do basically the exact same thing you did with the goblet squats, with 1 back off and 1 hard set. Okay, so now hamstrings toasted, glutes are toasted, quads are toasted. Pretty much the only thing left. You don't really need to do an accessory for hamstring at this point. On your next leg day, if you did have 2 different ones, you would add 1 more accessory. The only thing left would be quad extensions and maybe some core if you have some energy. Okay, so just to wrap this bad boy up, this video up. Now, this is the quad extension exercise machine that I have in my house. I love this one because basically, you can't really see from side view, but basically it starts at a negative degree. Most gyms are gonna have a video or a machine like this, like Matrix or Life Fitness. The issue I have with it is like where you start, it's fucking dog shit resistance profile. You're not like, it should start like here and put your ankle behind your knee and then get a greater stretch on your rec fem, but it doesn't. It starts like 20% of range of motion is missing, but it is what it is because people that make the machines don't know anything about biomechanics or care. Anyways, everybody knows how to do a quad extension by now. What the one suggestion or one tip that I would give you is lean all the way back as you can, or as much as you can in the chair. You'll get a better stretch on your rec fem. If you want a cool core exercise for sticking around here to the end of the video, basically you don't need to do this with a barbell. If you have access to the ones where your elbow is on like the riser, just do the same thing. But if you want to do lying or hanging leg raises, it's a great core exercise, but most of the time your grip is going to give out before your core. So stick a barbell and a pad, lean back on it, hold something, and then you could either do knee tucks or you could do like straight leg raises, one or the other. So to recap, just here, quad extensions, and then we'll go into core, whatever you want, 2 sets of AMRAP, so as much as you can. Or you could substitute the quad extensions for walking lunges, but it's probably going to be too difficult. You're probably going to have difficulty stabilizing. So you can screenshot this, or actually maybe if I remember, I'll put this in the description of the video below. Other than that, if you found any value from this video, please do me a solid, drop a like, comment if you want something else or something similar to like this in the future. If you want to learn how you could lose 10 pounds in the next 30 days, there's going to be a link in the description. Check that out if you're interested. And I think that's about it. Check out my podcast if you haven't by now. There's a lot of gems and insightful information on that, and I really do appreciate it. If you're watching like this second or this video of me speaking right now, thank you. I really do appreciate that. It helps a lot with watch time and retention and the algorithm. And if you have any ideas on content or videos that I can make for you, the true like real viewer that is watching this currently right now, that nobody, like fucking 2% of people of my audience watches to the end of the videos, let me know how I can help you. I would actually enjoy to do that. I appreciate you, and until next time, see you in the next video.